Okay, so here's a quick update based on the events, I guess, overnight. If I'm honest, uh, I don't think we're quite there yet. I think there's still a little bit of space to come. There was an obvious move up to this level, collecting some of the liquidity. I'd like to see stochastic currently in the overbought situation. And I think although this is quite impulsive, I didn't get a feeling for the volume in this move up. So the fact that we're still pretty much the same place as a whole, we haven't really broken this key level yet. So I would like to see a break above this before we obviously start saying, hey, we are ready to take this long. Um, I'm just not feeling that we're going to get this on this particular move. So I think the thing is for me, looking at the bigger picture, looking at where we are, as I've said in the last couple of streams, we've got to think logically in terms of the time wise. We've got to think about what Composite Man will be trying to do and how we'll be trying to play this as a game. If we carry this drop down, and just fell all the way through, a lot of retail traders will be picking up Bitcoin, obviously on the cheap. I think what we're looking at here is a bit of a fake up, a test of nothing more than this particular level, and then obviously a drop on down. So I think we're going to get probably another slow grind down again. I don't think it's going to be a V-shaped drop here. And the fact that we've obviously moved up in an ascending channel, breaching that channel to the upside. I'm just guessing, like I said, when I stick in the stochastic, that I think we're going to be looking at an overbought situation already. I think the volume would have been tapering off. So we've got a bit of a volume spike, here, but I think we've actually had nothing in terms of real volume on the rest of the move. So we've already hit overbought. We've got this volume spike with nothing the other side of it after this initial spike. And the one thing that I put on one of the previous streams recently was to do with the volume. So if I stick just the standard volume, obviously in TradingView built in, you'll actually see what I was talking about on this. So when we look at the sellers climax or this particular volume spike, obviously we had this one over here as well, this one, and only one green sitting in there of any kind of real substance. You've got to look and compare to the previous historic volume as a whole. Okay, so we've got a very nice green cluster, but if you look at the size and compare that to these previous moves that I've just highlighted, the one quick way to do this is to stick a Fibonacci tool on. What I'll do is I'll start from the top and come all the way down to the bottom. I'll just put it close enough you get the general idea. Now, what you can see is that the volume that we had on this particular red candle, it was only 50% on the next couple of moves. We haven't quite hit 50% on the previous one, where a lot of people were calling the spring. And at this particular stage, we're not even 20% of half decent volume for this move up. So again, coupled in with the time, using the volume, in terms of a profile, yes, we've got some nice um, descending volume here as a whole. So we might be in some accumulation. I just don't feel that it's going to be as quick and as easy as just this little one move. So I really expect a bounce off, a rejection off this key liquidity box here. And then obviously at that particular box, drop back down. And then I guess let's just see where we are in another couple of weeks, really, because it's nice that it's obviously spiked in terms of a couple of thousand, but the reality is, we're still 20 odd thousand away from the top, and we're a lot closer to the bottom in terms of a 30k, a 25k. If you look at this liquidity candle over here, if we look at the bottom of this, what we're talking 27.6. So I think for me, 27 and a half, we're a lot closer to 27 right now than we are 65. Um, and therefore, I would like to see rejection and another drop down. Again, sideways action for another couple of weeks. Um, Obviously, they got to keep the hopes alive. They got to keep retail kind of guessing, or obviously game's just going to be over. So let me just check to see if there's any questions. Nothing so far. Perfect. Okay. So I guess the reality is I'm just being logical, I guess, in terms of what what I'm seeing. I don't think that is enough for me to warrant, a buy order just yet. I'd like to see a break above this, and therefore, if we get a move that looks something like this in the next couple of days, then I think obviously, yeah, I'll be looking at a buy order, at this position. But I'd like to see a clean cut, clean break above this kind of level, before obviously that would be a trigger for a buy. So again, bias is still pretty much sideways. And I know a lot of people who are trading smaller time frame charts are saying, massive, massive rally. Just being realistic, guys. If I draw this and put this across to the bottom, you know, that's really what I'm seeing. And I think if you look at it like this, you can't really argue the logic that this is actually sideways rather than impulsive right now. You see? So, although yes, it's been impulsive from this move, we've had comparable impulsive move down, and therefore it's still pretty much range bound until it's not. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. In terms of what it is, I am bullish as a whole. I think in terms of the current sentiment, still pretty bearish. I'm probably less bearish with obviously seeing moves like this, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's confirmation that I'm actually looking for rather than just making an assumption that we are now bearish. If you look at the lower lows that we've created and you look at the lower highs that we've also been building kind of along the way, obviously from the all-time high, we have a low. We then have a new lower high. We have obviously a new lower low. We have a new lower high. And assuming that we then have a new lower low, we've obviously got this particular move. If we don't get above this level, we're actually seeing a new lower high. So we've obviously got, a move that looks something like this in terms of the current level. And I think that in mind, we have to take into consideration new lower highs being made, as well as obviously new lower lows. And even if I just drew that in there rough, yes, we've come out to the channel there, but we are looking at purely lower lows and lower highs right now until we break this level. So key level for me is probably back at the 41,000 ish. Um, I'm not quite sure if that was the schematic for the large Wyckoff distribution that we were talking about back in March. Let me stick on the daily Wyckoff. Yeah, so even back at this level up at 43,000, we're still underneath the overall distribution schematic on the way down. Let me just see where we are in the weekly forecast. In the weekly forecast, you'll see this one. If you go into my ideas, you'll see this one that I posted back on the 26th of March. Where actually, if I take some of these off right now, we're on the 26th of March. I'd actually posted the logic for the Elliott move down, obviously 3 to 4 on the weekly. Just get rid of this one. I'll hide this one, keep that for later. This one, and this one. So as you can see from the 26th of March, this was the expected level and we still sat in it. So again, I would like to see a move above this, but I think now we've got some liquidity over here at around 43. I think it would make the difference for me if we were actually seeing a nice impulsive break up and above this level, back down to retest and then go. Whereas I feel that we're still pretty sideways. So yeah, until we get out of the range, it's still sideways for me at the moment. So I'm just going to stick this in to give you some levels. 42, if I put this a bit brighter, stick this in as pink, put that in as 4, make that a bit brighter. Here you go. So ultimately, the way that I'm seeing this right now is until we break this range, I'm still pretty much the same sentiment. It's still bearish as a whole, and I'm looking for bullish confirmation before I actually get interested. So let's see if there's nothing else. Okay, so I've recorded this one for YouTube as well, should there be any issues with it. And what I'll do is I'll upload that anyway into YouTube, and then obviously be streaming again, possibly later, unless there's something else interesting happens. I might just see you guys tomorrow. So have a great day, and thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.